I'm grateful to Chevening for this wonderful opportunity to do a 4 month placement with the BBC World Service here in London. Even though I've been working as a journalist for over 8 years, this is my first real experience working in a 24/7 news organization. And to be doing it with the BBC is just very rewarding. So far, so good. I've been doing a lot of things here at the BBC World Service, working with the Newsday program, which is a morning breakfast show, current affairs program. And I've been able to do lots of stuff, starting from production to seeing how it goes out on air to the listeners. And it's just so amazing. Just 6 weeks on, and I've been able to produce over 10 pieces for radio. I think this is just so great, and I'm loving every aspect of this placement, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity. If I'm working during the day, normally I start, a normal day starts at 9 a.m. So I come in at that time, and the first things I want to do in the morning is to check what is up on the news diary and be able to see what stories are on the agenda for the day. And then I want to spend a few minutes reading around those stories just to make sure I have a grasp of the stories that are running for the day. And that will be covered for the next day, because for the Newsday program, we're producing for the next day. So you want to be looking ahead, which is kind of tricky. So I do that, and I wanted to also look at stories that I'm particularly interested in, and I read around those stories. And then sometime around 11:15 a.m. or thereabout, we get together for a planning meeting, and that's where I get to pitch my own stories. And in doing so, I want to, explain why this matters, and explain how I want to treat it, and the voices I want to get for these stories. And sometimes the stories, they get approved by the day setup editor, or sometimes they get turned down. But for the stories that are approved, then I would spend the rest of the day chasing these stories, calling people on the phone and getting the voices and setting the agenda for the day. And it's just so amazing that, you do this, thinking about how the night team is going to have to treat this, how they're going to be able to do the interviews and get the pre-record interviews and get the live interviews. So you're planning this, but at the end of the day, when you get your story and you get everything set, then you have to write the brief. And you're doing this just so, you set everything straight and get a proper setting for the story, so that when the night team comes, they're going to have an easy way out with the story. Apart from the fact that the night shifts can really be tiring, I would say they're really, really exciting. These are really exciting times to work, because then you get to see how the output part of the program. So the night shifts, they normally start sometimes, at 9 p.m. or 7:30 p.m. But so far I've been working 9:30 p.m. When I come in, first things first, I want to again read around and look at what the day team has been able to put up in terms of news stories that would be produced for the following day, in terms of pre-records and stuff like that. But again, we have a quick meeting at sometime at 9 p.m. where we have the day setup editor come together with the night output editor, and with the producers for the night. And the day setup editor is basically explaining what the stories are that have been set up, and explain other things we need to know about the stories, the intricacies that are involved in some of the stories, especially very sensitive stories. And then after that, then I get assigned to produce some of these stories. You basically walk into the studio with the presenter, sometimes doing pre-record interviews and cutting these tapes and mixing them and making sure everything is well, set up for the live broadcast in the early hours of the morning. We're doing all of these for 5 hours of output, from 3 a.m. to 8 30 a.m. in the morning, and it's about over 15 hours of work done by the day team and the night team, and just to make sure we have a successful broadcast within the 5 hours. I'm still like looking forward to much more with the Newsday team. I want to really say the team has been amazing. The editors and the other producers on the program, they've been just so wonderful, helping me to learn some of the things I need to know about a 24/7 news setting, news environment. And for the next few weeks, I want to understand so many other things. I want to be able to do audiograms, set up these audiograms for social media platforms like Twitter, like Facebook, and I want to be able to do other things, produce more stories, especially international stories. I have a special flair. I have a special desire to produce African stories, but I want to also produce international stories. So far, I've been able to, get involved in producing stories, big stories like the Rohingya problems in Myanmar. I've been able to produce the stories around the Kenyan elections. I've been able to produce stories about the Catalonian referendum, and these are major stories. But also, I want to, do more in terms of understanding the intricacies and how these work, and be able to participate more in setting the agenda as a news producer.